guys, John Bishop here with John Bishop Fine Art. Welcome to the podcast called Art Life, the Podcast. I'm glad you're here. We talked last time about the fact that I needed to kind of streamline what I was doing with this podcast, and that I wasn't really clear on, what part was me doing my art and talking about art, in my art business. Not really to sell anything, but just to share among artists and what that would mean. And or the kind of nonprofit that we've started, Arepa Arte. And that I was feeling a little confused because I didn't quite know where this was going. And I was talking about the same thing in various ways in different formats because we have a number of things that we're doing. So I decided that, in fact, this would be about art, about my art, about what I'm doing, and my art practice. Now, I got to be honest here. I probably got pretty much away from doing anything the whole time we were away in Romania. Not because I didn't care, it's just that space is incredibly important to me. I need to have a studio space. I need a workspace that is predictable, that I know where my supplies are, that I feel comfortable in, that, I have some energy dump in the spot, in the place. And that just didn't exist in Romania. We were in a lovely apartment lent to us by Bogdan's relatives, and Bogdan was able to work there. He was able to buy some materials. I had paints, I had watercolors, I had pencils, I had pens. I could have done little heads, I could have sketched or painted. I just didn't. I didn't do any of that. And so I think one of the realizations for me is that importance of having a spot. And this is my spot. It's very small. It is a combination of my study. I have all my computer stuff here. My library, which is also behind all of this. I have quite a book collection. I was a librarian for 30 years. And my studio, my painting studio. So it is a little cramped. Oh, it's also where I do video content. So it's where I do my podcast, where I do my vlogging. It just depends. It's where I write my blog. So yeah, this is a multi-purpose spot, but it's mine. I feel comfortable here. I feel like I can be creative here. And that is far more important than I think I gave it credit for. So having said that, I am working now on a project, kind of a big project. I have a solo show coming up in about a month. And we are lucky enough at Silver Street Studios here in Houston, a part of the Sawyer Yards compound, that we are given the opportunity to have our own solo shows in some of the gallery space at the building. And my month is October, November. I have to cut off by Thanksgiving. So I'm right at that point where I really should be finished. I should be sending out invitations, which I am, but all the work's not done. So I'm feverishly trying to work on more pieces. And I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about that today as well. I am creating a collection, a whole series. There's about 18 pieces or is there more now? There might be 22 in the collection. It's called Earthen. And earthen in the sense that it is all earth tones, very dark browns and beiges and rusts and teals and grays and those kinds of things you would find in those earth tones. So the idea of earthen, I was born in 59, so I really kind of grew up in the 70s. I was a little kid in the 60s. but all that 60s and 70s, those earth tones, all of the, is part of my psyche. And so I think that's why I kind of returned to this theme again and again. We had a show, was it last year? One of the tenant shows, 10 ants, little ants, and they were tenants. Get it, get it? It was sponsored by Valentina Atkinson at Serrano Gallery. And I was chosen to be one of the 10 artists. And I did 4 pieces in these kind of earth tones and loved them. I think they were some of the best things I've ever done. 2 of them sold immediately, and the other 2 I still have. And I said, you know, I'm not done with this yet. So I took those as inspiration for the rest of this. And I'm in the process now of trying to add to that collection, explore a little more the use of color, the use of pattern, the use of texture, and I'm really enjoying it. I think they're looking good. Well, some of them are looking good. These are the ones on paper. And I did those as kind of a study on the color and things, and all, because I didn't have the canvases yet. So I started out with these. I love the way paint and ink plays on paper. I just think they're magic together. I don't know if you guys find the same thing. I find a lot of people don't value paper, and if it's on paper, they don't consider it good. So I have been doing, the bulk of what I'm doing is on canvas. I think paper looks great. I don't have any problem with it. I almost prefer it because it's so much easier to store than canvas. But I can't fight the fact that most people that I deal with just don't seem to value paper. So having said that, I am doing 4 large pieces, 40 by 30, and they're all abstract non-representational, as are the 16 by 20s. And these will be lighter colored than the larger pieces, will be more bold. And then I have 4 of the paper, and then I have 4, what are these, 20 by, does it say? These are 20 by 24, and I'm going to try and do something a little more, still abstract, but a little more representational. See if I can do some landscape. I have a friend, Lynn Ennis, who's a painter I much admire. She's out in South Africa now. She was at Silver Street and Sabine Street in Sawyer Yards for quite a while with us. And she used to say that she knew that a painting was done when she didn't hate it anymore. And I thought, you know, that seems very appropriate. I'm to the point where I don't hate these. And so I think I'm nearing their completion, doing some kind of finishing embellishments to them and things like that, just to spice them up and to put my mark on them a little more clearly. So those are almost done. I think maybe done today, in fact. These, however, are ghastly. Let me show you one of the bigger pieces. These are 30 by 40. And I love the bolder colors on these, but in both cases, to me, they look like camouflage pants. I'm not feeling it yet. These really need to be good. You know what I mean? If you're going to have a show and you're going to invite people, and I haven't seen a lot of these folks since I did my big show in Pancamarga. Bogdan and I had a show together, but it wasn't that significant. The Pancamarga show was much bigger, and I got a lot of people there. And this will be my first real solo show since then. I'm trying to think, is that true? Did I have something in between? No, I don't think I did. So I'm excited and a little nervous that these really need to be good. I've got to go to that next step. So that's a little intimidating. There's also everything coming at us at once. We had a really, really slow year, basically, and things were really dropping off. Then we went off to Romania. We came back. Now it's September. People are back. Crowds are there, and they're really not buying a lot, but they're back. I've sold a couple of pieces. So special shout out to Sandra, who bought my big nun, called She Watches. Josh bought another nun, a small nun. I just got an email yesterday from Lauren, who bought one of my little heads. She bought one called Eunice and sent me a picture of where Eunice is in her study at home. And she says she smiles every time she sees it. So those are some sales that I've made lately, but they haven't been a lot of sales. You know what I mean? They're not flying out the door, and they're not huge purchases. So that has been a slow year, and that has hurt us, both Bogdan and I. We're really feeling that, the pinch of that. We're just tripping over inventory at this point. And as far as the business part of that, we can't keep doing that forever. We're going to run out of money. We're going to run out of room to store everything. And it does take a real hit on the psyche just to be in this holding pattern where you're like, I'm still creating and I'm not selling. Is that because I'm crap? And I know I'm not crap, but I may be the only person who knows that I'm not crap. So that's all going on at the same time. But now that September has come, man, everything has kicked into gear. We've got people showing up. We've got loads of opportunities. We're going to a big show. Well, it's a big show, but it's only 2 hours long at one of the office buildings here in town in Houston. And that's a great honor. We were recommended by a friend who was involved with that company. And they're having a one-day sale from 12 to 2. So all that's set up, just bringing stuff in for 2 hours. But we're going to do it. You bet we're going to do it. We also have a couple of zine fests coming up, one in Austin, the other in Houston. And I love those, and I'm preparing new things for those festivals. If you don't know what a zine is, it's short for magazine, and they're basically homemade, small publication booklets, pamphlets, books, posters, whatever. But it's self-publishing, but on an indie level. It's very grassroots. And I knew of zines from my years in libraries because a lot of libraries promoted that kind of literacy and that kind of publishing. So I just participate in them whenever I can. So those are coming up. We also have a big thing going on at the end of September called the Ramble, the Art Ramble, which is kind of a version of our biennials that we used to have at Sawyer Yards. So all the studios will be open from 2 to 7. Big publicity going on, food trucks, alcohol, live music, and of course art. And we're hoping that will be a kind of an injection in this fourth quarter to kind of carry us out and help us out toward the end of the year. So that's still going on, and hopefully that'll bring in some money. And then we just got word that we have an opportunity to go to the big center, the Exxon Center here in Houston, the big campus. It's like a city in a city. And they have various vendors, and one of the vendor spots, a little shop, is empty. And so they're letting people come in for 2 weeks at a time and basically have a shop in their mega workspace. And so we got that for 2 weeks in mid-October. So that'll be exciting. Don't quite know what that's going to mean yet because we have to kit out this small store. And but hopefully we'll be able to reach an audience we don't normally get. So that's a little exciting. But yeah, so back into the art. I am into it really deep. I've stayed home several days now. I was home yesterday. I'll probably stay home tomorrow. I'll be helping John Palmer, who's a local artist of some international fame. And he's going to start working on video content in the sense of a blog, or a podcast. And I'm going to help him get that started just because I've been doing it for a while. And I think it's important with that kind of presentation, like the one you're looking at now or listening to now, is that it doesn't have to be that polished. It can be a little organic. It can be a little, I don't want to say amateurish, but it could be amateurish. Maybe that's the word. But it's honest, and it's organic, and it's homegrown. And I think that's important because I'm not here to present any kind of slick, finished product or trying to sell you anything. So it's just me. It's just me, and it'll be John. We're going to have a conversation about his art and where he's going. And I don't know. Hopefully it'll be exciting. I'm very honored to be able to work with him because he's kind of a hero of mine. And don't tell him that because it'll go straight to his head. But I really love what he's been able to do with his art career, and the way has been able to develop this really loyal following of collectors that would support him through anything, and they do support him through everything. It's very inspiring to see. I learn a lot from him. And so it's a way of helping him in a new kind of endeavor, but it's also going to feed me as well. And then what I'm hoping is that he's going to create this video series of kind of monetized classes on art and art business. And I'm thinking that as we start that nonprofit, we might be able to send artists to his program as part of our programming. So there are all kinds of tie-ins there that I think will be helpful down the road. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm working on my art. I'm trying to crank out lots of pieces without treating them, I'm trying to give them all the importance they deserve. If it means I take longer, I'll take longer. I still have several weeks. Not many weeks, like 4 weeks to get ready for the show and for the exhibition. The exhibition will run about a month. So I have some time. I have enough done to where I'm over the panic of not starting. So I can pretty much step in and do stuff anytime now. It's not like, when you first get started, you've got that blank canvas and you don't know where to go, where, you don't really have, as particularly if you're doing abstract art, at least for me, I don't have a great plan. I have an idea in my head, maybe, but the painting pretty much tells me where it wants to go at some point. These have not yet spoken, but I'm confident that they will. These have spoken. That's starting to speak to me, and they will go wherever they go. But getting started can be such a hurdle to overcome. I tend to just walk in with a paint brush and black paint and just do something on the canvas. I just make a mark. I know I can always paint over it later, but it breaks that awkwardness of a white canvas. And I'll see where they go. Wish me luck. I'm going to keep working, and I will talk to you again next time. Have a great week. Stay creative, and get out there and make something beautiful. Talk to you soon. Bye.